you are not a victim of the genetic hand dealt by your parents, that it is up to you most of the time to determine, thank God, if you can reverse diseases, right? I don't subscribe to that notion from the GI doctor, well, you got it from your parents and you're stuck with it, you got to live with it. We don't think like that.
Yeah, what you just told is very profound. So we have to take everything into our hands because it's not destiny anymore.
It is not destiny.
Right.
It is not. Most of the time, not.
So if anyone here happens to have a digestive disorder, don't stop this interview, because this may be the most important set of recommendations that you're ever going to hear, and it may not come from your doctor. I'll tell you one thing, Ravi. Years ago, I was giving a talk to some very wealthy, influential people, and one person said, some years ago, I had a GI tract problem. I had to do an operation, and it was very serious. And my GI specialist says, I know why you have this problem, but I can't write it down because it's too controversial. He said, what is it? He said, GMOs. So we now know more about it. People can write it down. And now we're going to talk about it.
There was a study published by a gentleman called Richard Lear, who studied, and you're probably aware of this explosion of chronic disease in the period 1990-2015. And what he noted was, so there was a long list of chronic diseases, a massive just explosion out of nowhere. For instance, chronic fatigue syndrome, over 1,000% increase in that period. And notably celiac disease, actually, and I checked that out because I don't talk about this every day, but actually celiac disease, 1,000% increase in celiac disease and 120% increase in inflammatory bowel disease. So he noted that this was going on, and what he noted was that there was an association between these chronic diseases and the level of a molecule called peroxynitrite. And what he didn't notice, or what he didn't note, or what he didn't refer to in his study, was that there was any link between this explosion of chronic disease and EMFs. But another researcher did, and that gentleman is called Dr. Martin Paul, Professor Emeritus at Washington State University, and he put forward this explanatory mechanism, this explanation of what's going on, of how this peroxynitrite, this very poisonous molecule to our bodies, is created through exposure to EMFs. And really what we're saying is very low level exposure.
The other wonderful thing to think about is that, when I was in medical school, I was taught, which was not very long ago, it was maybe 30 years ago, that the intestinal tract, especially the colon, was really didn't have a lot of function other than to absorb water back and forth, absorb some water from the contents of the stool, and also maybe to have some potassium and mineral fluxes in between to get rid of potassium, to absorb potassium. That was it. And today we know, in more recent years, that the colon and the intestine that precedes it to some degree holds the richest source of bacteria on Earth.